Welcome to another episode of Lost in Science. It is our official end of 2016 episode of Lost in Science. Are we glad to see the end of 2016, people?
Get out of here.
Yes.
2016 can go. It can
Just tick over.
Yep. Exit stage right. Yep. Never
That's
return.
correct, Mundo. But we are going to mark its passing with some look backs at the year that was. Cue the music. Anyway, Stu, how are you going to mark the year that passed?
Well, celebrity deaths have been all over the place this year. There's been, Prince and David Bowie and Lemmy didn't actually make it into 2016. He was just before the end of 2015. But there was a lot of people who died, funnily enough, being planet Earth and being human beings. But there was also a lot of scientists who passed away in the last 12 months, and I'm going to have a look back at some of those scientists, many of whom you will never have heard of, but all of whom you've probably been affected by in some way or another.
Great, thank you for that cheery note, Stu. Manisha, please raise the tone for us.
I was actually going to talk about some changes to the IUCN Red List, but because 2016 has been really shitty, there have been
said raise the tone.
But I'm getting there. So I'm not doing that because that was a really shitty thing and it would be sad. So today I'm going to
hang on, wait a second. The IUCN Red List, that is the animals that are endangered or about to go extinct. Is that what that is?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and they have a red list which just states how much at risk species are at going extinct. And so I was going to talk about all of the great success stories, but there haven't been that many. So instead, I'm going to just talk about some newly discovered species that we have here in Australia.
Well, those are successful in their own way, aren't
yes,
they?
Yes, they are.
And Claire, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Look, I'm really excited about today because I hear on the grapevine that you're going to be doing a quiz, and I love quizzes, so that's why I'm here today.
You're going to win the prize, aren't you?
Well, I'm hoping to. I mean, that's why I turned up today.
Yeah,
that's why you invited me, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
What is the prize?
It is. We'll come up with that. It's going to be for best Lost in Science presenter, I guess. Wins whoever wins the quiz.
Hang on, why are you judging this?
I get a medal.
Why aren't you part of it as well?
Because
he's got all the answers already.
I have all the answers already. Yeah.
Best Lost in Science presenter.
Okay, we won't call it best Lost in Science, but we'll call it second best Lost in Science presenter.
We'll let our listeners decide.
Something to look
Chris.
forward to. And those of you can tape it and you can play the quiz at home. Maybe we'll stick the questions up on the website.
Sorry, I didn't realise we were transmitting back into the 1980s. But that's nice.
Get your
Happy
cassette
1986, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, that is what you have to look forward to on today's show. On with it.
There are a lot of people working in science all over the world, and some of them are quite old, and of course they are affected in the same way as people are, and they pass away. So 2016 is no exception. It wasn't a miracle year for nobody dying. But look, to be honest, there are so many people working in science that a lot of people will have probably never heard of them. For example, Susan Lee Lundquist, who is an American professor of molecular biology who passed away this year, who solved the problem of protein folding within the family of molecules known as heat shock proteins. So the majority of people would have never heard of her, but she was, working for over 50 years in molecular biology. And then you've got people like Ralph John Cicerone, who's an American atmospheric scientist who was commissioned in 2001 by President George W. Bush to report on climate change. And his report concluded for George W. Bush that greenhouse gases, this is a quote, that greenhouse gases are accumulating in Earth's atmosphere as a result of human activities causing surface air temperatures and subsurface ocean temperatures to rise.
That would explain why George W. Bush instituted such strong action on climate change.
Yeah, he might have skimmed over that bit, or maybe he was holding the report upside down. Maybe. Okay, yeah. You never quite know with George. And look, there was, there are people who probably have had a more direct impact on people's lives. For example, the late Professor Esther Wilkins, who was a dental scientist. And you know that little pointy, hooky thing that they search around in your teeth with?
Oh,
that
yeah.
dentists-
Yeah.
She invented that.
Oh.
So thanks, Esther, for your interest in our.
Is it named after? Is it like
It is
Wilkins
called
probe?
It is called the Wilkins Tuft probe. So, yeah,
What's with
she
the tuft?
the Wilkins Tuft Explorer, I should say. So the Explorer really shows whether they jab it right into those cavities in your teeth. For a more out of this world science related passing, John Glenn passed away.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 5th person in space, the first American in space.
Yep.
But also the oldest person in space because he went back into space. He went first on the Mercury program.
Did he forget his glasses or something up there?
Yeah, he went back to retrieve. He left him up in the Mercury, the Mercury stage 1. No, he went in the Mercury program, and then in 1988 he went in the Shuttle Discovery and became the oldest person in space.
Cool.
How old was he?
Quite old. He was still serving as a senator, so he may also be the only
He was a
US
senator as
senator
well.
in space as
Oh,
well.
what a guy.
possibly.
American.
Probably won't see any more of them in the Trump administration or anything.
Possibly not. But there are other people who had, also direct impacts. I mean, John Glenn wasn't a scientist himself, but the space program's pretty sciencey, so I threw him in there. You may have never heard of Umberto Veronesi. He was an Italian oncologist who basically stopped breast cancer treatment of, automatically they would just remove people's breasts to get rid of breast
Mastectomy.
cancer. Yeah, they'd just perform a mastectomy pretty much automatically if someone had breast cancer. And he said, hey, hang on, we can operate more precisely than that. And he figured out all these treatments and ways of removing breast cancers without removing the whole mammary gland itself. So he passed away this year, and he was an oncologist for over 50 years. There's also, if you're getting a bit choked up, you might have to refer to Henry Heimlich.
Oh, yes.
Henry
I heard
Heimlich
about
passed
that, yeah.
away just in the last couple of weeks.
He was quite old, wasn't he?
He was 94, I think. He was an American thoracic surgeon who actually came up with the Heimlich maneuver. If you don't know what that is where you, if someone's choking on food, you sort of come up behind them and rapidly
Squeeze in
their thorax, and they
thorax,
choke up their food. It's not actually first aid. They don't advise
No,
you to
no
do
one,
that
no
anymore.
one really does it anymore. It's
No,
like
they-
the short, sharp burst to the back.
Yeah. So
with
check
your
if
palm.
if your first aid's not up to date, don't go looking
Don't
for the Heimlich maneuver.
do
Go and
that.
find out what the actual first aid is for choking.
Maybe
But
go get a first aid.
he probably did save some lives. Let's be honest. Over his career. I also noticed that there's some pretty important things that came about from scientists, such as chemist Colin Snedeker, an American, who came up with. He was working for a company which you may have all heard of called Crayola, and in 1990, took him quite a while to figure this out. Came up with washable crayons. So all those parents out there who have had their kids draw all over their walls and clothes and things, now that the washable crayon was invented in 1990, thanks to Colin Snedeker, you can wash that off again. So I'm surprised that it took until 1990 to figure out that you could make a washable crayon. Also, in the last year, who passed away, a woman who may not have been a scientist, but she certainly was groundbreaking in the world of hygiene. Valerie Gordon, who was an English woman who invented the world's first disposable nappy and the world's first sanitary pad for women.
Did it have polyacrylate in it? The polymer?
Her original design was like a plastic clip-on pant over the outside of a removable pad so the pad would absorb all of the baby's refuse, so to speak, and you would throw the pad away.
Wheeze and poops, I think, is the technical term.
Poos and wheeze. And you'd throw the pad away, but that was all biodegradable, and then the plastic outer bit you would reuse. You just sort of rinse it off and reuse that.
Cool.
It wasn't until the American company Pampers invented an all-in-one disposable thing where you threw the whole thing away, which had the plastic outer and the later addition of the polyacrylamide gel, I think it is, which is also a huge environmental problem now. But Valerie was way ahead of her time, being an environmentalist and solving the problem of women being stuck at home washing nappies all day. So unfortunately, she passed away this year, and but what a great invention that was. Also, I thought I would mention Ewan Whittaker, who was a metallurgist, but he helped. So another person who passed away this year was Ewan Whittaker, who was a British scientist who, during World War II, did quality control checking on the pipelines that the Allies, which I only found out about this today, the Allies laid pipelines under the British Channel so they could pump fuel to Allied forces in France for the final push towards Berlin, because they couldn't put ships full of fuel and get them across the Channel because they kept getting bombed by German planes. But then he went on, after the war was over, he went on to map the lunar surface from Earth, and then using mathematical models, turn the maps that he'd made from Earth into top-down bird's eye maps of the moon's surface, which were used by the Apollo astronauts when they flew to the moon. So they actually could track very carefully exactly where they were on the moon, which is a pretty amazing feat when he never even got to go into space. Now, not everyone in science's job is boring. Another person who died this year was Gordon Hamilton, who was a Scottish climate scientist who was zipping around Antarctica on a snowmobile this year and fell down a giant crevasse on his snowmobile and passed away. So hopefully the crevasse wasn't caused by climate change, which is what he was there to study, because that would be terrible irony. But lastly, I thought I would pay tribute to a man that we all owe, well, a little something to, a man called Ray Tomlinson, who, working on ARPANET way back in 1971, sent the first email in history, and also came up with the syntax that we still use today of putting the person's name and then the @ symbol and then the name of their domain, which in his case it was just a different machine. But yeah, he invented that, and we still use it today. So he's kind of immortalized. Maybe we should call a little @ symbol the Tomlinson from now on, because it's a great name for it, I think. You don't think? Okay. Sorry, Ray. I've been downvoted here in the studio.
Across Australia on the Community Radio Network, you're listening to Lost in Science.
So, as I said earlier, today I was going to give an overview on the changes to the IUCN Red List. And this was basically sparked by the news that the giant panda has finally been downgraded from endangered to vulnerable. But I'm not going to do that, because there are lots more things going further extinct or being more threatened than there are things being saved.
What's better than vulnerable is like invulnerable. It's like you get these
like super pandas.
Yeah. I think vulnerable is like the lowest of the threatened grades. Okay. And then it goes into like concerned.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have probably looked at
Least concern.
Least concern is like...
Yeah.
Do they have at the other end of the scale just invincible?
Yeah, cockroaches are up there.
Yeah. The invincible animals are on the other end of the scale. Yeah.
Yeah, one even further than least concern. Anyways, so the giant panda is doing well. Other things, not so much. So in light of that, I decided to talk about something a bit less depressing. I'm going to talk about some species that were discovered in Australia this year.
Nice.
There's actually 2 frog species that were discovered. The first frog species was, it's called so I'm going to say this wrong, the Mauney's toadlet, or the Imperioli mahoney. I would say Mahoney, but it's called Mauney's toadlet. Anyways, this is a new frog species that was discovered in New South Wales, in Newcastle by...
Woohoo! Go Newcastle! That's where I'm from.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, me and the Mauney's toadlet.
Are you familiar with this particular toadlet, Claire?
No, because it was only discovered this year. Fortunately, I haven't been in Newcastle.
The locals knew about it, though, didn't they?
Well, yeah.
It's all over.
It's all over the Newcastle Herald. Didn't go to school. Maybe I went to school with his cousin, actually. Everyone knows each other.
Well, it was discovered by Simon Cluel and his team at the University of Newcastle. The scientists discovered this frog because it looks quite different to some of the other frogs that they had in these areas around Newcastle. But the unique thing about it is the frog's defense mechanism, which may have been what caught the researchers' eyes. When threatened, the Mani toadlet will flip over and expose its bright orange genitals.
How does that help?
I suppose the orange makes it look poisonous or something. I'm not really a toadlet, so I'm not
Just
quite
an
sure.
exhibitionist.
Just scares you off. You go, oh.
When
Is
I
this
first-
common in Newcastle?
When I first read
You laugh, but
I was imagining it.
I'm
in a
raising
bit of
my
a
eyebrows
trench
right
coat.
now.
Yeah.
I've got to say, if I was working at the University of Newcastle, I'd be very glad that someone from the University of Newcastle found the new frog.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't some interloper from another university. Just go, oh, we found this new frog just in the grounds of the university.
Look, it's upside down. That must be its defense mechanism.
Oh, the poor scientists.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Okay.
Exposed genitalia is what we found in 2016.
Why is it a toadlet? That's what I want to
It's
know.
really weird. It's a frog species, but it's called a toadlet. I have no clue why it was called what it's called. It's called Manis after Mick Mani, who's this like amphibian guru, who is also Simon Cluel's mentor and supervisor. And stuff.
So he named it after his supervisor.
Yeah.
Good work. Good
You
way to
aren't-
get good marks on your.
You aren't allowed to name animals that you discover after yourself.
Which is
it
really
is not
crap.
etiquette.
It is not. No,
It is
it's
not
true.
etiquette.
It's
So
true.
But I would like pawn it off to my friend and be like, "You get the glory, give me the name." Like I'm fine with that. Name it after me. I like things named after me. I think I'm a bit narcissistic or something.
yeah, I think so.
The other frog species that was discovered in Australia this year was discovered in far north Queensland. It's called the Cape York Graceful Tree Frog, or Littoria bella. And it was
It's
just
a nice name.
It is a nice name. It's quite graceful. It was described by researchers at the Australian Museum. So the team of researchers were Dr. Jody Rowley, Keith MacDonald, Stephen Richards, and Greta Frankham. And they named the frog, so the frog became its own distinct species after they discovered that they had been mistaking this new Cape York tree frog for a species of dainty tree frog that it closely resembles. So the scientists actually spent a few years to compare the DNA and the advertisement calls and different life history traits and body measurements between the two frogs, and they were able to conclusively say that these two species are actually quite distinct. And this new species is actually it's much more related to the two frogs from New Guinea than it is to this Australian frog.
So it wasn't. They didn't just call it graceful because it doesn't flip over on its back and flash its genitals at everyone. It was graceful for another reason.
That's probably exactly why they called it graceful. Just
It doesn't take much to
It's
impress them, really, does it?
It's a pretty low bar that you're setting there.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if other frogs are doing that, it doesn't take a lot to be graceful, really, does it?
Yeah. So the researchers are just sort of focusing on how to now conserve the species and make sure that it persists into the future, given that it's quite data deficient. But yeah, anyways, I hope that all happy news will help you leap into the future.
Okay, yes, it is time for the inaugural annual Lost in Science quiz challenge. Are you all ready, folks?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've just got to
Dun, dun,
rummage
dun,
through and
dun,
find
dun,
the
dun.
Sale of the Century theme song. I'll play
Okay,
that over the top.
you'll find
Yeah.
that. All right, so there's going to be a few different kinds of questions. You can some of them you'll just be we'll have a warm up question where I'm going to ask you each a thing, but a lot of them is going to be whoever gets in first,
Oi.
and I will judge. And but also please try and keep remember how many scores. you
Oh
get.
my
Right.
God, I'm
Okay.
having flashbacks to my Year 12
I'm a-
exams
Yeah.
already.
Keep our
This is
scores
like
in
an
our
oral
head.
test or
Enough of that.
something.
Enough of that. Okay, so we're going to start. We're going to start dive right in. We've got to fit this into time here. So I'm going to start with the biggest science story. Obviously, I have to put this as the biggest story of 2016. Yes, don't shake your head, Claire. 11th of February 2016. Gravitational waves. The announcement of gravitational wave detection from a pair of colliding black holes was announced. It verified Einstein's predictions for a century earlier. Now, what I want you to do, I'm going to each in turn, I want you to give me the sound that the colliding black holes made. Okay, now Claire, you were present for this recording, so you would have heard this.
I did.
Okay, so can you give me your best colliding black holes?
All right. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Manisha.
That's the interpretation of it in like what we actually heard.
No, that's great. That's
Okay,
great.
all
Well,
right,
I'm not going to say what that is. Manisha, what sound do you think colliding black holes make?
Boom. I don't know.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Stu, you have a guess?
Look, I'm just going to go with in space there is no sound.
No sound.
All right, but this is shaking
that's
actual
what I was
space itself.
thinking.
All
yeah,
right.
even
I
so.
was thinking,
Even so.
and then
Okay.
I just like, nope.
All
they
right.
must have
Well,
made a
you're also
boom
smart.
noise.
Now we're going to listen to the actual sound as recorded by LIGO. Okay. Whoops, stop that. Black holes. I think we have decided that Claire got closest by actually doing a sound.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty.
That was pretty much the way she said.
That's how you won.
Okay, yeah, so
By
1 point
answering
to
the
Claire.
question.
1 point to Claire. Claire is in the lead. Okay, question 2.
Shit, I'm gonna lose.
Question 2, we're going to chemistry. There were 4 new elements named. These ones they were actually discovered in 2015, but they filled in the 7th row of the periodic table. They were finally given names in December this year. I want you to tell me what they mean. The first one was called nihonium.
Ding.
Yes?
Japan. EM. Nihon is the Japanese name for Japan.
Correct. 2 points to Claire. Next one, element 115 is moscovium.
That's named
Russia.
after Moscow.
I think Stu gets that one, so 1 point
Damn
to
it.
Stu. Okay, next one is element 117 is called tennessine.
Tennessee.
I have to give that to Manisha, I'm afraid.
Because I have no points yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right,
Give me points.
you can only say that for so long. Now you got points. You can't use that excuse
Okay.
again.
And finally, element 118, oganesson.
Oregon.
No,
Oganesson.
oganesson.
Is it a person? Mr. Oganes? Miss Oganes?
Oganeshi.
It's
Dr.
called-
Oganesh?
It's actually named after Yuri Oganessian, who's one of the scientists who discovered this. Should we give that to Claire?
I think that's
Yeah.
close enough.
Okay, well,
Claire
Claire's on
gets
3
it.
points, and
Oh.
we have Stu and Manisha each on 1. Okay, now, not all the news was happy in 2016. Question 3, we saw a lot of temperature records broken in this year due to climate change. Which month would you say was the hottest ever recorded?
December.
In Australia, do you mean?
Well, globally.
Globally.
Ooh, okay.
July?
August.
Oh, we have Manisha says July.
No,
I said
Manisha,
August.
Manisha said August. I said July.
Okay, you're both right. They were tied.
Ooh.
A point each. A point each. I will give you that. All right. In June 2016, the International Agency for Research on Cancer had an announcement about coffee. Did they say that it causes cancer? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Manisha got in first. The answer was no. Yes. Coffee previously had been linked to cancer, and now they decided it probably doesn't. Can't decide. In fact, it may be protective. There you go. So we've got 3 points to Manisha, 3 points to Claire, 2 points to Stu. It is getting close here. In March 2016, a computer program developed by Google finally beat the human champion of what game?
Chess.
Chess.
Go.
Manisha, it is go. All right. So Manisha, he's the lead, I believe.
Yeah, 4 points.
Here we go. Okay, in June, also in June 2016, a new reserve of which element was found in the Rift Valley in Tanzania to the delight of scientists, engineers, and birthday party clowns everywhere.
Helium.
Helium.
I think that was Claire.
Claire. I think
getting
it was Claire.
first. Yes. So what? Can we have a point check?
4.
4.
2.
In January 2016, it was a ninth actual planet was predicted for the solar system. It's about 10 times the mass of Earth, believed to be. How long in Earth years does Planet 9 take to orbit the Sun? I want you to give me your best estimate.
You're not going to give us multiple choice on this.
Multiple choice.
Is it like, will you give us a range?
No, just
I'm going to say
Is this Price is
200
Right
years.
rules?
200 years.
200
okay.
years.
Stu says 200 years. Manisha, what are you going to say?
Or I don't even know how long the other planets take to orbit. I'm gonna
Well,
say
Earth takes one.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 98.
Interesting.
I am going to go with 500.
What do we got? We got 500, 98, and 200.
Yeah.
The answer is closer to 15,000. So I
Oh
think
wow!
Claire-
I guess that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
15,000 years. How far out from the sun is this
A
planet?
long way.
Oh, it's
How
a
long
really
does
long way.
This is why
Saturn
it hasn't
take?
been seen. I don't know.
Is that like 60
not that
something?
long.
Yeah.
If they'd known it was there, they could have, hooked up the Pioneer probe to fly past or something, but they
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah.
have any clue, did they?
No, it's too far out.
Yeah.
It's too far out. So we've got 5, I think 4 and 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. I think we've got
Stu,
a couple more
what's
questions
happened?
to go. Let me see. What can I give you?
know.
Stu, what's your special topic, Stu? I'll try and give you something.
I don't know.
Fungi.
Yeah, don't ask me any fungi questions from this year, though. I've totally not been paying attention.
Okay. Can anybody tell me which mosquito transmits the Zika virus?
Aedes aegypti.
Claire, very good. Claire's on 6 points, almost uncatchable. All right, let's go for another one. Let's go rapid fire round. In June 2016, the Bramble K. Malomus was in the news for what sad reason?
It went extinct, and it's the first extinction due to anthropogenic climate change.
I'm going to give that to Manisha because she has
also did a
more
story on it.
detail.
And
I
also
know
she did the
that.
story on it, yeah.
Okay, so we have 6, 5, and 2. All right, okay, we'll give you one more question. What can we do? A good one. All right. In September, there was a baby with 3 parents born in Mexico. They did it in Mexico because, as the American doctor said, there are no rules. Was this baby, did it have 2 mothers and a father, 2 fathers and a mother, or some other combination?
2 mothers, and a father. Mitochondrial DNA, right?
Yeah. Who do you think got that one first, Manisha?
No, I think they said it
I
pretty
think
much at the
I think
same
Claire
time.
beat me.
Give it to Stu.
I was gonna say the
Okay,
same
Yeah, I
thing.
can't
points,
win
3
anyway,
points.
so
3 points. Okay. I think we could do one more question.
a space question.
Okay, space question. All right. So this is the last question, and you're going to get this one. In July of
Yep.
this year,
Yep.
NASA's Juno spacecraft arrived at which planet?
Venus.
Jupiter.
Oh,
What'd you say?
Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Yes.
Jupiter.
So Manisha now has.
I don't remember. 7, 6, 6. I think.
7.
I think it's 7, 6, and 3.
I think Claire's on 7, you're on 6, and I'm on 3.
Okay. That makes Claire the winning Lost in Science professor of this particularly shambolic quiz. Or there's not going to be a tiebreaker. We've really exhausted this possibility here. But yeah, I think Claire knows the most about science in 2016.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for playing. And that was 2016, the year that was. Lost in Science, of course, is recorded at studios at 3CR in Melbourne, airs across Australia on the Community Radio Network with the support of the Community Broadcasting Foundation. Look us up online on our website, 3cr.org.au/Lost in Science, on the Facebook Lost in Science, on 3CR, on Twitter, Lost in Science, one possibly after, podcasts, bam, emails, lostinsci@gmail.com, or on the radio. For our summer special, which will continue for the month of January, I think you'll find it's going to be excellent. We're going to play some classic stories from the laboratory. All right, so, and that is it. Apart from that, we'll be back sometime in 2017. Claire, Manisha, Stu, and Chris will get
Lost in Science!